I'm very disturbed about the militaristic posture of our nation. And I think until we have a radical reordering of priorities in our country, we are going more and more to the depths and, I should say, to the doom that follows arrogance of powers.
On the anniversary of Muhammad Ali's death, and with civil unrest in the United States ramping up again, we wanted to reflect on Ali's unlikely friendship with Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. For the United States, the 1960s were a time of long overdue social turmoil. 100 years after President Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery, African Americans were still second-class citizens, and Dr. King had seen enough.
America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds.
With good, peace-loving Christian men like King front and center, the civil rights movement began in full. But peaceful protests were soon met with unprovoked police brutality. The conservative establishment answered the protests with water cannons, beatings, and widespread violence, much like today. For that establishment, Dr. King became one of the most feared men in the nation, and with good reason. Because when he marched on Washington to deliver his message, 250,000 people of all colors and creeds came with him.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
The tide was finally turning, and even the President of the United States was forced to take note. That was 1963. The next year, a 22-year-old Olympic gold medalist named Cassius Clay became one of the most feared men in America too, but for very different reasons. The day after he won the heavyweight world title, the most prestigious accolade in all of sport, the champ renounced his slave name. Cassius Clay, the Christian Baptist, was no more. Only Muhammad Ali of the Nation of Islam remained, the Black Nation of Islam. Suddenly, a black, dyslexic Muslim man, in a time when anyone who wasn't white, educated, or Christian was considered a threat, held the most coveted title in sport. That made him a conservative nightmare. So when Ali legally refused the Vietnam War draft on religious grounds, the Christian powers that be went after him.
This would mean, of course, that you stand the chance of going to jail as a result of not going into service.
Well, whatever the punishment, whatever the persecution is for standing up for my religious beliefs, even if it means facing machine gun fire that day, I will face it before denouncing Elijah Muhammad and the religion of Islam. I'm ready to die.
As a Christian and pacifist, Dr. King was completely and publicly opposed to many of the ideologies of Ali's militant Nation of Islam. But as an African American, the movement was too important to let religion get in their way. So King reached out to Ali, and white America hated it.
What did you discuss back in the hotel room?
Nothing, just friends, just like Khrushchev and Kennedy and everybody. When the people, all of the politicians of all other white races come together, and they, although they believe different, they think different, whites can come together and discuss the common cause. But whenever a few of us come together, the world is shook up. And I say, whatever went back there is our business.
In their attempts to divide people of color, the government forced two of its greatest enemies to find common ground. And it was beautiful. Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali came together for peace because that was the only way forward, just as it is today.
We do have common problems and common concerns, and above all, as Muhammad Ali has just said, we are all victims of the same system of oppression, and even though we may have different religious beliefs, this does not at all bring about a difference in terms of our concern.
Thanks for watching, and remember, If you want more fight sports in your life, just hit the subscribe button.